Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
A win for transparency. A judge ordered the release of several records tied to the Robb Elementary School shooting. Coming up, what those records are and why some are still tied up in the courts.
Moving forward, just days after an attempt on Donald Trump's life, both Republicans and Democrats changed political strategies. Coming up, what this means for both presidential campaigns.
These were public officers acting in their public capacity. So this information really belongs to the public.
Yet it's been kept from the public, you and me, for more than 2 years. Now we could get records from the Robb Elementary School shooting by the end of this month. KSAT, one of a dozen media organizations suing for their release.
A judge ruled that 2 Uvalde agencies have to turn them over. Our Daniela Ibarra spoke with an attorney on the case about what you could see and also what's still being tied up in the courts.
21 names and 21 crosses. For the last 2 years, the Uvalde victims' families and the public have fought to remember them. They've also pushed for answers about what happened at Robb Elementary School. Some of those answers could come as soon as July 28th.
We think this is an important step towards transparency and accountability.
Reed Piliphant is an attorney with Haynes & Boone, a firm representing a dozen media organizations, including KSAT 12.
And the public will get a chance to see an unvarnished look at those records.
This order from the judge on July 8th requires Uvalde CISD and the Uvalde County Sheriff's Office to turn over records tied to the Robb Elementary School shooting. That includes body camera footage, 911 calls, emails, and text messages.
What it does is give a window into the actions of people that day, how schools are prepared or not prepared, how law enforcement officers acted or didn't act.
Why is that so important?
Because most of what we know right now has really been filtered through other agencies. We know what the Texas House has told us. We know what the U.S. Department of Justice has told us. But the public really hasn't had an opportunity to see many of these records for themselves.
2 weeks ago, a grand jury indicted former UCISD Police Chief Pete Arredondo and former officer Adrian Gonzalez. Both face multiple felony charges of abandoning/endangering a child. Families of the victims and survivors hope to see more accountability.
Do you think by releasing these records, there might be more indictments coming?
We don't think the release of these records will have a direct effect on the district attorney's decision.
As soon as those records are released, journalists here at KSAT 12 are going to be poring over them, and we're going to bring you the latest information. Daniela Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
Those county and school district records aren't the only ones that we've been waiting for. KSAT and several other news organizations are still fighting to get documents from the Texas Department of Public Safety. DPS is asking a judge to keep its Uvalde records secret, which has delayed the release of those records and also answers for the families of the 21 victims.
It got some other news out of Uvalde tonight as well. The Uvalde School Board unanimously agreed on a plan between the district and the Moving Forward Foundation to make sure state funds given to that foundation will be used to build a new elementary school. Construction's actually already begun. The foundation will keep the district in the loop on the new school construction project with quarterly progress reports that show how those donated funds are being used.
The first day of the Republican National Convention now officially over. Former President Donald Trump securing his party's nomination for the third time. He also announced his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. The 39-year-old senator was born and raised in Ohio. He also served with the Marines in Iraq before he launched his career in politics back in 2021. But he wasn't always a Trump ally. He criticized the former president after the 2016 election, but then reversed his opinion by the time he was elected to office in 2022. There's an entire article on our website breaking down Vance's history, who he is, and the entire timeline of his relationship with former President Trump. You can read it right now by scanning that QR code on your screen. It's also on our website.
The Republican National Convention really couldn't have come at a more unprecedented time. Former President Donald Trump officially the nominee 2 days after he was shot during a campaign rally. Since then, new details surrounding the assassination attempt and the gunman continue to pour in. Here's what we've learned. Here's the latest. Investigators say 20-year-old Matthew Crooks bought 50 rounds of ammunition from a gun store the day of the shooting. He was part of a local sportsman's club that had a rifle range. We've also learned the Secret Service did not sweep the building where the gunman was posted. The Secret Service has faced heavy criticism since Saturday. The director, Kimberly Cheadle, has already been ordered to testify about Saturday's events in front of a congressional subcommittee next Monday. By the way, the son of UTSA's head football coach Jeff Traylor was at that rally in Pennsylvania. Jake Traylor is a reporter for NBC News and was covering the events when the shots rang out. We've since learned that Jake dove in front of ABC reporter Rachel Scott when the gunfire started. We weren't able to get a hold of Jake to talk about all this, but Coach Traylor says that's just who Jake is. Coach Traylor went on to say, quote, "I am very proud of what he did, but it doesn't surprise me in the least. My prayers continue to go out to everyone who was affected by this tragic event," end quote. And with 4 months until the presidential election, there are questions about the potential impact this attempted assassination will have on the race.
Tonight, Team's Avery Everett spoke with local political science professors about what they expect from both parties moving forward.
This is going to be an incredibly important election.
In the days after the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump, campaigns for the presidential race are expected to change. Before Saturday, political science experts say the Biden and Trump campaigns focused on personality and qualities rather than their policy. But the attempted assassination has put a pause on these efforts.
Because of what happened.
Trinity University professor Juan Sepulveda says Trump's campaign is pushing his survival as a strategy to win votes.
On former President Trump's side, their campaign, they're going to go even deeper on the strength message.
Well, both of them have.
And that's why Professor Dr. Lydia Andrade at the University of the Incarnate Word says the Biden campaign has tough decisions ahead.
If everything's been about personalities, when is it okay to attack the gentleman that just had an assassination attempt? That's a delicate one for the Biden campaign.
With drastically different stances on what the American government should look like, this election is in the spotlight. Now, voter participation may hit a turning point.
How could that influence voters in November?
Oh, I think it's going to motivate a lot of voters.
Is there a sympathy vote? Is there something that comes across, makes this notion of strength in an even deeper piece? And that's going to be kind of one of the key questions moving forward.
As campaigns could change, their proof of success will show up at the polls on November 5th. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
While all that chaos was unfolding on Saturday, you may not have heard that a Florida judge dismissed the classified documents case against former President Trump. Those charges stem from classified documents being found inside of Trump's Mar-a-Lago home back in 2022. The federal judge in this case, sided with Trump's attorneys, who argued that special counsel Jack Smith was illegally appointed by the Justice Department. Smith's office, by the way, has already said that they're planning to appeal this motion.
By the way, tonight was just the first of 4 nights that ABC will broadcast the Republican National Convention. You can watch it live before the Nightbeat starts tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday night starting at 9 o'clock. You can watch it right here on KSAT or any of our streaming platforms.
Another news here right now, that San Antonio police officer is on administrative leave after being arrested and charged with making a terroristic threat to his family. That's 8-year department veteran Andrew Gonzalez. He was arrested yesterday after a report detailing that incident was filed with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. He's the 3rd San Antonio police officer to be arrested so far this year.
The local church building where 26 people lost their lives in a mass shooting is one step closer to being torn down. Talking about the old First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, where a mass shooting took place almost 7 years ago. Back in 2021, church members voted to demolish that property, but a recent lawsuit challenged that vote. A temporary restraining order was put in place to hold off on the demolition, but today a Wilson County judge decided not to extend it. Still, some people don't think this is a done deal.
Today wasn't a total loss. Our case is still alive for now, and we're going to keep going.
I have no hope in that building still be standing by next week.
KSAT tried speaking with attorneys for the church. They would not comment today. At this point, it's unclear when that building will get torn down.
Cell phone camera footage shared with KSAT Investigates shows a San Antonio police officer using his stun gun to subdue a suspect that was seen walking away from a stolen truck.
Oh my God! What's wrong with you?
That man has been identified as 24-year-old Benjamin Aguirre. Aguirre tells KSAT Investigates that he simply wanted to know why he was being detained and that the officer didn't provide a reason. SAPD's master taser instructor walked us through when it's appropriate for officers to use their stun guns.
When can we use the taser? When lesser means have failed to accomplish that arrest. So if I've already tried verbal and hands-on and that's not working, then our policy allows us to move up to the next force available, which would be intermediate weapons.
KSAT Investigates takes you inside that chaotic scene tomorrow on the Nightbeat.
Now for a look at some of today's big headlines in your Nightbeat News Flash. More cases of bird flu confirmed in 5 poultry workers in Colorado. Health officials say the workers got it from direct contact with infected birds. Those cases coming to light after 13 states have reported bird flu cases among their dairy cattle, including Texas. Still, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say risk to the general public remains low. Tomorrow, President Biden planning to unveil a new plan to cap rental prices. Housing prices a key point to voters this election season. The plan, in theory, would eliminate a tax benefit for landlords who increase their tenants' rent more than 5% year over year. That rule would only apply to landlords that manage more than 50 units. The plan would have to be approved by Congress. And that's a look at your Nightbeat News Flash.
Stick around for this. Yes, my friends, it's been a very long week for our friends up in Houston who have been without power since last Monday because of Hurricane Beryl. Coming up, how many are still powerless and when they should have their power restored.
And after a few dry days, rain chances soon returning to our area. We'll talk about the shift in the weather pattern and what that means for those rain chances and when in just a bit. We'll be back shortly.
All right, parents, this is for you. It feels like summer just started. Never too early, though, to prepare for the upcoming school year. If you need help, there are a lot of ways to get school supplies all over the Alamo City. Things like backpack giveaways. Just one way that local districts and nonprofits helping families ahead of the school year. If you want to learn more information about how to get help for your student, scan the QR code that you see at the bottom of your screen right now.
It's been a week, and what a week, since millions of homes and businesses lost power up in Houston. And right now, at this point, the main energy provider in that area, CenterPoint Energy, is saying this right here, that 129,000 homes and businesses still in the dark as of right now.
Think about that. Almost 130,000 homes still without power. CenterPoint says 98% of its customers will have power back by the end of the day on Wednesday. In the week since Beryl knocked out electricity in Houston, CenterPoint has come under local, state, and national scrutiny for the way they handled Beryl before and after it made landfall. In the days after Beryl hit Houston, area hospitals saw a massive spike in the heat-related illnesses in a time of year where they're already common.
That's right. Governor Greg Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick both spent the last day in Houston to survey the damage. The governor says the utility company's slow response to getting the power back on is endangering lives.
The lack of power provided by CenterPoint continues to compromise lives here in the greater Houston-Harris County area.
So what now? Well, the governor's office has promised to hold CenterPoint Energy responsible for this so-called gaffe. The State Public Utility Commission is going to investigate why the power restoration process is taking so long. And CenterPoint Energy has until the end of the month to explain to state leaders how it's going to limit outages the next time a major storm hits Houston, right? It's not a matter of if, it's just when.
Yeah, and you know, as a city that's experienced large power outages before, February, a couple years ago, we know just how devastating they can be and how every hour really that you're without power has a huge impact at it.
It does for sure, especially, you know, the cold is hard enough, especially because we were below freezing for several days in a row, but also heat-related illness is more common. in terms of having to be treated and unfortunately death as well, like we heard about the spike in the heat-related illnesses in Houston. Let's get to our headlines because I do have a bit of good news. Rain chances are coming back into the forecast. A few more dry days and then better rain chances later this week. Okay, better 30%, but that's not bad for mid-July in San Antonio. And that's going to keep our temperatures under triple digits for the foreseeable future. Very close tomorrow and Wednesday at 98, but I am expecting us to be below triple digits. Okay, there's that 30% chance. Thursday through the weekend and into the early part of next week. I know, that's not a significant number. It's not widespread rain, but it is mid-July here in San Antonio, so we're lucky to have any percentage in the forecast. Very quiet across the state today. Actually, we had 3 days in a row where we didn't even hit 90 degrees because of rain and the extra clouds. Today it was back to sunshine and we were into the 90s. The upper level heat high nudged its way into the panhandle of Texas, but still centered away from us. And it's going to drift over the western U.S. again, just like what we saw last week with the record heat from Salt Lake City to Vegas to Phoenix. Well, the upper level heat high is going to be off to the west, and that gives us this northerly steering flow aloft because you have the clockwise circulation around these highs. And this opens the door for some energy disturbances, and even what we're expecting is a weak cold front to drop into the state by Thursday and on into Friday. And this should be just enough to help kickstart some widely separated showers and thunderstorms for the end of this work week. And then thereafter into the weekend, the pattern should be conducive for some pop-up showers, just like what we had days past, even on Saturday with those good downpours. In turn, rainfall potential, it returns. And again, for July around here, we'll take it. It's not significant, but we'll take it. So 96 was our high temperature today. That's only 1 degree above the average high of 95. But look at the record, 104, of course, set on this day last year, back in 2023. Now, overall, in terms of 100-degree days, we've had 12 so far this year. Compare that to this time last year when we had 21, and of course, the total last year, 75, the all-time record by a long shot. So we're not even on pace to keep up with or catch up to last year's record-breaking triple-digit day count. Obviously, there's still a lot of summer left, but at the rate we're going now, it's looking much better than last summer. Del Rio made it to 102 today, made it to 100 in Wichita, Kansas, and Abilene. The heat highs off to the north, giving them triple-digit heat, and we didn't even have it here in San Antonio. 75 in the morning, near 90 at noon, 98 the high temperature tomorrow. Another sunny day just like today, closer to low triple digits along parts of the Rio Grande. And then notice those highs in the mid-90s when those rain chances return.
Thank you. I love that Jamari Bouye is getting some love.
Booyah!
Booyah.
Booyah. I just wanted Spreester to have some fun with that one, right?
It's kind of both extremes, boo and yay.
Jamari Bouye is getting a lot of love because he's having a great Summer League coming up clutch for the Spurs Summer League roster. And you know what? The Peanut Butter Bowl, it wants to be bigger and better than ever before coming up.
I think it was huge. A lot of guys haven't played back-to-backs like in the NBA schedule and everything, so I think that was huge for us. A lot of guys stepped up and played well and defended hard, and that's all you can ask for when the guys get their opportunity.
Jamari Bouye and the Summer League Spurs won on back-to-back nights, which is not an easy thing to do in big board sports. Back in early March, the Spurs signed guard Jamari Bouye to a two-way deal, and now he's doing his best to show the Spurs that he belongs. In 2 games in Las Vegas, he's averaging 26.5 minutes, 11.5 points, and 5 assists per game. Last night in the Spurs' 3-point win against the Hawks, Bouye hit a step-back jumper, putting the Spurs up 4 with 35 seconds left. And then he found Demoy Hodge for an easy bucket with 10 seconds to go to help the Spurs win. Having the 25-year-old on the court in crunch time was music to the ears of his head coach.
Unbelievable. As a coach, there's nothing like that calming presence to have Jamari on the ball. You just put the ball in his hands. We didn't want to run anything special, just a high pick and roll for him and let him create for us, and it was great.
Absolutely. I think the game's definitely slower for me. I think I got a couple years on some of these guys, so I think just trying to play with my pace and show them the way a little bit is definitely something I'm trying to do.
From Cali to Vegas, Spurs second-year guard forward Sidi Sissoko is having a solid summer so far. He's young, strong, a good defender, and he can run the offense if needed since he was a point guard growing up. During the Spurs-Blazers game Saturday night, Pop sat down at the scorer's table and talked about how much he loves Sissoko as a player.
He's the dream in the back of my head. When I look at his body, I look at his strength, his length, his quickness, his explosiveness. He has a natural inclination to be a great passer, things that we can't really teach. He is really a great passer. He's got to work on his shot, obviously, but the explosiveness, the foot speed he has to play D with that body at the 3 position, I think he's going to be a special player.
The Spurs have at least 3 more games to go in Las Vegas, and these are the 2 we know for sure. Tomorrow night against the Pelicans, and Friday night they'll face the Sixers. The Peanut Butter Bowl started with a single game in the 2016 season and grew to 84 high schools in Central and South Texas last season. The 2024 Peanut Butter Bowl Media Day was held this morning at Alamo Heights Mule Dome. Each high school team committing to collecting as many peanut butter jars as possible to feed those in need. Coaches and players from all over the city spoke about the importance of the Peanut Butter Bowl, and McCollum's Gabriel Escobar told us what this event means to him.
This really is it's just a great opportunity. Like everybody was saying, kind of echoing, is giving back to the needy, and really being united. That's what I feel like has been the most prominent thing that I've seen. This Peanut Butter Bowl, it's only going to be successful if we all come together, right? So just to get McCullum's name out there, but just to be able to be a part of something big.
Last year, Alamo Heights came in second place behind Copperas Cove, who had 8,207 jars of peanut butter. That's awesome. Mules head coach loves the competition and the purpose of helping the hungry.
We're going to have probably 100 schools this year when it's all said and done, and one of them is going to raise more than everybody else. But if all 100 of them, or however many are better than last year, then we've all been successful. So are we going to try to win the Peanut Butter Bowl? Absolutely. We will try to bring in at least one more jar than any other school. And I wouldn't be surprised if our community didn't respond to that and make it happen.
Leaders expect to exceed results from last season when they totaled the equivalent of 37 tons of peanut butter donated to 35 local hunger relief organizations. The Home Run Derby takes over Globe Life Field after the break. The MLB All-Star Game has taken over Globe Life Field in Arlington, home of the World Series champion Texas Rangers. This afternoon was All-Star Media Day, and a buddy of mine who's there covering the game said it took him over 2 hours to get credentials and get inside. And one of the biggest media scrums belonged to Los Angeles Dodgers slugger Shohei Ohtani and New Braunfels alum and Baltimore Orioles infielder Jordan Westberg, who's in his second season. Well, he's making his All-Star Game debut. Now, once Media Day wrapped up, it was time for the Home Run Derby. And the final in the Derby went down to the Dodgers' Teoscar Hernandez and the Royals' Bobby Witt Jr. Famed ring announcer Michael Buffer introducing the 2 finalists. And in the final round, Hernandez won 14 homers to 13, becoming the first L.A. Dodger to win the Home Run Derby. He takes home a cool-looking trophy and $1 million for first place.
Nice.
$1 million.
Not bad, huh? That's a pretty good payday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Larry.
We'll be right back.
It was good to see some downpours popping up over the weekend on Saturday, that was, and this is this is a local accumulation in Canyon Lake. Got a few rain gauge photos. That was about 3/4 of an inch, and final total here, New Braunfels, a smidge over 8/10 from Chris in West New Braunfels. Definitely will take it, is what he said, and yes, we all agree. And we do have more of that, I think, coming our way later this week, particularly Thursday through the weekend, and even lasting into the early part of next week.
All right. Thank you.
Those are for the Night Beat. Have a great night.
Have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow.